Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today I am going to show you guys how I did a fill on myself, and I'm going to take my nails from this to this, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. First of all, my before nails are 7 weeks grown out. I definitely don't recommend doing that. Unfortunately, I just didn't have a chance to do them any earlier, and so they are a little bit more grown out than I would like. Also, I did my pointer finger on this hand on a different video because it curves down quite a bit, and I wanted to show you guys how to correct that using gel. So if you want to see that video, make sure and check that out. That video is already up, so I will link it right here. So let's go and get started with the rest of the fill. To start with, the e-file that I'm using is the Erica's Journey 30K, and for the bit that I'm going to be using to remove my old set, that is the Violet Barrel, and this is also from Erica's. The dust collector I'm using is from the Nail Hub, and it's the Zephyros dust collector, and it collects all the dust really nicely on top, so I can clean it up super easily. So first I'm going to start removing the old design, and I have the e-file going around 25,000 RPMs, and I'm going to be removing the old design again with that violet carbide barrel, and the violet coating on it helps it to last a little bit longer and helps it to not heat up. So you always want to make sure you're using new bits. If your bits are dull, they're going to get hotter, and if you're working in a slower speed or pressing too hard, that also can cause the bits to kind of warm up as you are using them. So this one has that violet coating on it, so it kind of helps prevent it from getting as warm. I do have a tiny bit of lifting on these nails. You'll see kind of as I go me getting that lifting out, and that's just because, again, I went 7 weeks in between, so I definitely don't recommend going that long. But if you're a nail tech, you know that it can be hard to find time to do your own nails because you're always doing everybody else's. So everybody, for me, all my clients come first, so I don't always get to do my nails that often. And I definitely, if you are someone who gets your nails done, do not go 7 weeks because you are risking getting lifting and breaking and all sorts of things. So make sure to, get in at least every 3 or 4 weeks to get your nails done. Also, don't forget, I do have a discount code for Erica's, so any of these bits that I'm using, the e-file and the implements, you can actually get 10% off, and my code is AMB10. You can use that anytime to save yourself a little bit of money off of these tools. Now I'm going to be starting the prep process. I'm going to gently push back my cuticles. I'm using the Accents cuticle pusher and gently pushing that cuticle back and kind of lifting it up off the nail the best that I can. I do get quite a bit of cuticle buildup on my nail, so you'll kind of see that as I'm pushing it back. And then we are going to use my e-file again, and I'm going to start removing that stuck on non-living tissue off the nail. The bit I'm using for that is the Erica's Russian nib. It's a tiny little diamond bit. It's almost like a little bit that's like kind of sandpapery, so it doesn't have teeth, so it's not going to cut like that carbide bit. It's more going to kind of grind or smooth down. And so I'm going to use that on a lower speed, about 15,000 RPMs, and very little pressure. I'm going to go around that cuticle area. You can see I'm getting out that like little bit of lifting that was in there. So I'm starting in the forward direction, and I'm working from right to left, and I'm removing again that stuck on non-living tissue from the nail. And then once I've done that on all the nails, I'm going to actually flip it in reverse, and I'm going to go the opposite direction and push back the skin and get rid of that stuck on tissue from the other side of the nail. And if you are left-handed, everything that I do would be in flipped in reverse. So I started in forward, but you would actually start in reverse and go in the same direction. So if you're left-handed, keep in mind what I say would be the opposite of what you would do. Now I'm using the Erica's Boss Lady nippers, and I am nipping off any of that white dead tissue that is kind of lifted up off the nail, and I'm just going to gently nip that off. If you're not comfortable with this part, of course you don't have to do this, or if you are specially trained and can do, very advanced cuticle work, then by all means do what you're gonna do. These are my hands down favorite nippers. They stay sharp and they just work so nicely. I absolutely love these nippers. So the Erica's Boss Lady nippers, I give them, like 10 out of 10. They are my favorite. Now you'll notice that sometimes after I'm done nipping, you can kind of see a little bit more of that stuck on tissue kind of revealed once you do your nipping. You can kind of see a little bit more back there. So sometimes I'll just go back in with my Russian nib and just do like one quick little pass over the cuticle area again, just to kind of get the rest of that out of there and lift up that cuticle really nicely so we can have a really nice clean cuticle area. And you want to make sure you don't have anything stuck on the nail, because if there is, then you will get lifting. So you want to make sure and get that really nice and clean. The prep process is probably the most important thing of doing your nails for the entire process. Now I'm using my hand file, and there was just a couple little spots that I wanted to kind of smooth out and remove any little bits and pieces of that old color, because I knew that the new color I was going to use was kind of translucent. So I wanted to make sure if I had any of that like hot pink on there that I got that off. And I'm also just smoothing out that old gel and kind of blending it out to the natural nail. Now we're ready for application. So I'm starting with applying a non-acid primer to the nail, and my favorite gel I'm going to be using is the Accents Trinity Gel, and I'm going to apply that directly onto that primer once that primer's dried a little bit. I'm placing a little bead of gel near the cuticle area where the grow out is, and I'm just smoothing it down over the nail and working it so I can get it as smooth as possible. I've mentioned this in my last videos that Trinity is a 3-in-1 gel, so Trinity has a bonder built in. Usually with gel nails, you need some type of bonder before you apply the hard gel, but the Trinity gel actually already has a bonder, so you can completely skip the bonding step if you're using Trinity and just go straight into the hard gel. And if you're wondering about links for any of these products, make sure to check that description box. I always put all the links that I can down in there for you guys. Also, as I'm working on my nails, I do flash cure them in my lamp just for a couple seconds before moving on to the next nail, because Trinity is a runnier gel and I don't want to have the gel like run into the cuticles when I go on to the next nail. So I always flash cure it before moving on, just a couple seconds just to set it into place. I really would not use this gel and do like all nails at once, because you would end up with a big mess. Now I'm using my e-file again just to do a quick shortening so the nails have been all cured, cleansed the tacky layer off the nails, and I'm just shortening them down a little bit just to kind of save my hand. If you don't have an e-file, you could of course use your hand file for this as well. And then I'm going to start shaping them into the shape that I want. I've been kind of doing more of like a tapered square, almost coffin shape, so I stuck with that again for my nails today. For shaping, I'm using my hand file, and my favorite files are the Light Elegance Perfect files. They are so nice and they do not lose their grit. If you use like some kind of cheaper files, sometimes after a couple nails, it's like not even rough anymore and you just have to use another file. So these ones hold their grit through the entire surface and they're so nice and sturdy. I love them. They do have a 100 side and a 180 side. So the 100 side is going to be your rougher side, and that's going to help you if you need to remove a lot of bulk. And then the 180 side is the smoother side, and it's going to really help smooth out the nail and just refine it. So I start by shaping the overall shape that I want, and then I start going over the surface area of the nail and the cuticle area, making sure that cuticle area is nice and thin and making sure the nail is nice and smooth. Now I grabbed my e-file again and a little bit of a smaller barrel bit, and I'm just beveling out that edge of my nail and creating a nice looking C curve to the nail. For the color I'm going to be using is the Accents Luxio in the color Delicate, and this is a really nice milky creamy pink. So I'm going to apply 2 coats of that over all of the nails. With the Luxio gel polishes, they do need a 30-second cure, so I make sure and do my first coat on all the nails, cure it for 30 seconds, do my second coat, and then also again cure that one for 30 seconds. Now for the chrome pigment I'm going to be using, this is one of my absolute favorites. It is called Pandora and it's from Magpie Beauty. It's the most gorgeous like pink to blue chrome. I absolutely love it, but I'm actually not going to use it today as a chrome. I'm just going to be dusting it into the tacky layer of that cured gel polish. And so when you do this, it actually creates more of a shimmery look versus a chromed look. I absolutely love it. This is so pretty. I love this chrome. If you don't have this one, you definitely need to grab this one. And that is what it looks like. So easy to ombre up the nail. I'm just using a little fluffy, I believe this is like the glitter brush from Magpie, and I'm just dipping it a tiny bit into that chrome and placing it on the free edge of the nail and then working it up the nail, and it just ombres so beautifully. And you can see that the look is a little bit sheer. If you were wanting something a little bit more opaque, you could have used more of an opaque pink underneath the pigment. Now I'm going to be putting a really fine holographic glitter on top of these. This is the CND Silver Shimmer. I'm not sure if they even still make this anymore. I've had this in my collection for a long time, but it's a really like ultra fine holographic glitter. It's absolutely beautiful, and I love putting this over like different colors if you just want that really like hint of a sparkle. And I think it works really well over this ombre because it just adds that just touch of like holographic sparkle. So I'm going to do a coat of this over all of the nails, and I'm going to cure this. And I'm going to cure this one for 60 seconds. And this is what it looks like now after applying that really fine holographic glitter. And now all I have left to do is top coat. I'm using the Profiles Outshine No Wipe Top Coat. And this is the finished result. I decided to keep it a little bit simpler this time, but I absolutely love it. It's very, very timeless, like could go with any look. So I think it's really nice, like a nice neutral shimmery design. I'd love to see if you guys try this out. Definitely tag me on social media. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.